Welcome to a Tuesday. 13 days left until you know what, and I am helping out Santa. I have my elf's hat. I'm actually going to bring this home tonight to talk to my daughter because she's not been behaving properly and she doesn't think that the elves are still making those lists, but they are. I am really thrilled to be your host, Diane Havinga, and we're going to be talking about all sorts of things with our medical center administrator, Estep, who has been on before, but she refreshed my memory. She's only been here 5 months, and it seems like much longer, which I think is a good thing.
Oh, definitely. It does seem much longer, though. On the 10th, it was 5 months.
So, since that time, what have you noticed in the medical center that you say is your number one, like, change or?
Well, for the medical center, the last 5 months, as everybody knows, we were shorthanded. So the biggest change is we're fully staffed as of now, which has been great.
All the nurses, all the doctors, every position is filled.
Correct. Fully staffed. Another change that I've noticed is when I first came, it was pretty negative because we were short-staffed. A lot of things were taking a lot longer than usual. Now you see a lot more conversation going on, definitely positive, smiles. It's welcoming when you walk in, and I've heard that from multiple residents, how welcoming is when you walk in.
And the medical center is just like any other doctor's practice, would
Correct.
be my opinion. In other words, when I'm sick, I just don't go to my doctor unannounced and say, I'm sick, you need to see me. And yet, I think some of our residents feel that they are able to do that just because, the medical center's there and I live over here. I can just walk in and see a doctor. Is that a correct assumption on my part?
The assumption as far as they do that is correct. As far as being a walk-in clinic, that is not correct. We do have acute slots with our physicians. So if you call in the morning and you need to be seen, we can usually get you in if it's an acute visit. As far as just walking down and needing an appointment, we'll actually have a CMA come out and triage you to see if you absolutely need to be seen at that time. If you do, we will fit you in. If not, we will make an appointment for the next day. On that note, we actually have 2 nurse practitioners that work over in Garden Ridge that are now doing half days once a week over at the clinic so that we can fit those acute cares in. For example, we have one that's there this afternoon, and when we came in this morning, she had no residents on her schedule, and prior to leaving, she had 5.
And by acute, what are we talking about?
Acute would be running a little bit of a fever, having a cold for 3 or 4 days, and you just wake up and it's worse. A skin tear, you come on down, we see you for that. The stomach bug. Acute care that you feel that you can't wait till the next day to be seen.
So if I cut my hand slicing something, which I tend to do, and it's really bleeding, and I can't stop it, I could come down and say, I think do I need stitches? Or
Correct.
Okay, so
Definitely.
something
Definitely.
like that. But if they're really running a fever and have the flu symptoms, should they actually even be going to the medical center?
Well, most of them usually call first. We only have the 1 or 2 that usually walk in. Most of them usually call first, and then we can triage over the phone and let them know what we suggest. We haven't had many people walk in with a fever yet. Usually they come before the signs start. It's usually their stomach is icky or they feel they have a cold, and then next thing you know, 2-3 days later they have the fever. But they do usually call, and we triage them to see what we need to do with them.
And we all know, as you can see, it's that time of year.
It is.
And that means that 3-letter dread word, which is flu. And I understand from the CDC that the outbreak is here. It's higher in Virginia than other states. I think there were 13 states, and I did notice, Virginia is one of those that have an outbreak of flu. So first, I know we highly recommend that residents and staff get the flu shot, but if we haven't gotten the flu shot, is it too late?
It is not too late. You are correct, though. We are one that the outbreak is huge in Virginia. The only thing that I ask is that you call and you make an appointment for a nurse visit, and we do still have flu shots on hand. So just make sure you make an appointment, and we can definitely get you in to get a flu shot.
And it takes about 2 weeks for the vaccine to really kick in?
From I think it varies. I know for me it usually takes about a week to kick in. The older generation, I would say, it takes a little bit longer. I couldn't tell you the exact amount of time.
So, and if they do come down with the flu, any thoughts as to what they should be doing?
Oh, definitely hydrate. Hydrate. Make sure that you hydrate so you don't become dehydrated. If you call us and you're one of the patients that come down, we can figure something out for you if you need soups, if you need liquids, because we don't want you coming out of your apartments if you feel that you have the flu. It's easier to catch for others to catch. So if you do feel you have the flu, I'd recommend that you call us and we will figure out something to do for you. Like I said, whether it even leave dinner at your door, a can of soup, a thermometer, anything that you need to make you feel better versus coming out into the community.
Could you do that for me too?
Are you sick?
Well, no, but I thought that would be a nice little...
What's your address? What's your address? We'll get somebody to do it for
I'm just right
you.
up the road. You can come by. And you also mentioned that the flow of the medical center is different than residents are used to. So first, what are you talking about when you say flow? And what do residents need to know to kind of make their visit more pleasant, not only for them, but for your employees?
Well, as far as the flow, what I talk about the flow is when the resident comes, when they first come into the medical center, how we triage them, and that's get your weight, your height, what medications you're on. We now are fully staffed, so we have CMAs at the front desk as well. Krishna is our only receptionist. The rest are clinical staff, the certified medical assistants. So what they're doing is they are calling the resident prior to their appointment when they call to verify their appointment, and they're asking if they've seen an outside provider, if they have medication changes. There's a whole list of questions they're asking. That way we can make sure that you have your medical records when you actually come in to see the provider. If you've had medication changes, that we're aware of that when you come in to see the provider. We all want to be on the same page, and in order to do that, we needed to change our flow a little bit. And like I said, when I say flow, make sure to remind the residents of what they need to bring, that they should arrive 15 minutes early so that we can, if the appointment's at 8:30, they should arrive at 8:15 so we can have them in a room and ready by 8:30 for the physician.
So their appointment actually starts from, I wouldn't say as soon as they walk in, but when they walk in, that 8:30 appointment is to see the doctor, but really they're seeing people pretty much right off the top.
Exactly. Whereas prior, they'd walk in at 8:30, we'd get them in the room at 8:40. Again, that was before we were fully staffed. So now that we're fully staffed, we're just making some changes that will be better for the residents and for the physicians. I know everybody's time is valuable, and when they're running behind, not only does it get the residents a little irritated, it gets the physicians the same way. And we want the physicians to be able to spend quality time with each resident because their needs are important, and we want everybody to feel that their needs are important. So we don't want somebody spending 30, 40 minutes with one resident and then 10, 15 with the other. So we're asking them to come 15 minutes early so that we can start them at the time, 8:30 if that's their appointment time, start them with the physician. So they have that 30 minutes with the physician.
And I would guess that kind of my gripes as a person who goes to the doctor is similar to the gripes, and I use that word very loosely, of residents, which is when I get to the doctor's office and I'm there, and I'm like, okay, my appointment was at 9 a.m. and it's now 10. And I go, okay, I understand emergencies happen,
Yep.
but I mean, to me, I'm like, couldn't you have at least called to alert me that you're behind? Because then I would address, then I don't have to leave work early.
Exactly.
So I've always wondered, and I've told the doctor's office, and it's actually, the doctor's office isn't as bad as the eye doctor offices, the ophthalmologists. So I'm like, you could have called.
Exactly. Fortunately, we have not had that problem running that far behind. I do know that if the physician's running behind, the front desk does let them know that they're running behind. Like I stated, everybody's time is valuable. So we want to make them aware that the physician is running behind, although they will still get their 30 minutes with the physician.
You actually do 30-minute appointments?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I should move to the medical center, jeez. And that was my gripe number two, is that sometimes I feel when I see my doctor, and I'm very blessed, I only go once a year usually to do my physical and, you know, have everything checked out. But sometimes I feel like, did I see the doctor?
Because you're in and out so fast sometimes. I do have to say, though, I admire the physicians that we have at the medical center because they do make sure they take that time with each individual resident because they know that all their needs need to be met.
So, end of year, we know it's upon us. Is there anything that you can tell us that people need to be aware of as we move into the new year?
Definitely. As far as the new year, of course, like I said, you will see a different workflow when you come in. You will hear different things on the phone, like arrive 15 minutes early. One of the biggest things you will hear again, and I know with moving to the new system in April, we've had you bring your insurance cards each and every visit so that we could scan them into our system. Unfortunately, come January, they'll be getting new cards and we will need them brought to the appointment as well. So definitely make sure you bring your insurance cards every time you come down.
And Krista will be back in January reminding us about that
Exactly.
again, right?
Exactly.
So this has been great. Like I said, I think maybe I should switch my doctors, but I don't think they'll let me.
Well, you're more than welcome.
But have a wonderful holiday.
You too.
And thank you for coming and sharing your information with us. And we'll see you in the new year.
Definitely.
I can't believe I'm saying that already.